I can't hear you.
We're looking good right now, heading into the college football stretch right now.
All right, now I hear you. What's going on, man? I couldn't hear a word you were saying. What's going on, Izzy? We almost at the finish line, baby. College
Abs-
football. Yeah, we almost at the finish line. Now, what were you asking?
I was just doing
There
my
we
little
are.
spiel. I was doing my spiel. Matt, can you hear? You heard everything I said in the beginning, right?
Not at the beginning, but I do now.
Oh man! Oh my God! I might have been on mute.
No,
Like I
you're good,
said,
bro.
everybody, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast here at Prime Sports World on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And in case you missed us, you can catch us on all streaming platforms where podcasts can be heard. That's Christian System from the Daily Blitz.blog. That's Matt James. And in case you didn't hear that, now you heard it again, baby.
That's
It's week
right.
12. We're on the horizon.
Yeah,
Look, week
buddy.
11 was a great week where a lot of questions were answered in that week last week here. As we start to head down into the last couple weeks of the regular seasons, where things are starting to get tight, and teams are vying for that playoff position, especially in the top four, the top 7 teams or top 8 teams. We all know who they are, coming down to some big games here towards the end of the season.
Absolutely, man. I always call the month of November in college football statement November, and this is a time for those teams looking to make that statement during the most important month of the season. This is an end all, a be all. It's the end all, a be all for a lot of teams in college football.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Look, we'll just kick right into it. Got the week 11 takeaways. First takeaway, number 3, Michigan prevails in Happy Valley amidst controversy, beating Penn State 24-15 without their head coach, Jim Harbaugh. It was a very emotional game as you had Blake Corum with cut over his nose, bleeding that press conference. You had one of the assistant coaches crying, saying that this was for him in the post-game presser, in the post-game not press conference, post-game interview here. J.J. McCarthy, 7 of 8, 60 yards. Didn't really have to do much because the running game and the defense was on point. Blake Corum really showed why he was a Heisman favorite last year. 26 carries, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns. Donovan Edwards, 10 carries, 52 yards, and a touchdown. And then Penn State, on the Penn State side, Drew Aller, 10 of 22, very modest game, 70 yards, 1 touchdown. Penn State, on the running side, Katron Allen, leading rusher, 72 yards off of 12 carries. Drew Aller, 10 carries off of 49 yards. And Nicholas Singleton really couldn't get it going at all. Only 3.3 a pop, 13 carries, 43 yards, as Penn State got outgained on the ground, 164 yards to 227, respectively. And they also had a turnover in this game on a fumble by Drew Aller. Thoughts on this game? I'll start with Christian, since I know he previewed this game last week.
Yeah, I did. This is a statement win for the Michigan Wolverines. I think, just going into a hostile environment, and they've been questioned all year. Who have they beaten? Now they finally beat a quality team. And in Penn State. And like you said, J.J. McCarthy didn't have to do much because the ground game was in control. And that's what this Michigan team is so good at. They can beat you in a variety of ways. I've been saying it all year. I truly think this is the best team in college football. You really have to squint to see their weaknesses because they don't have any. They score 40 points a game. J.J. McCarthy, he, um, he's taken tremendous steps as a quarterback. They can obviously run the ball with Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. They have weapons on the perimeter, and defensively, they'll punch you in the mouth. I mean, what's there not to like about this team? Penn State, they just don't have the explosiveness. Look, the way they play football, their style of play will work against a team like Iowa, against a team like Wisconsin. But when you play Ohio State and Michigan, you got to be able to put the ball down the field, and they don't do
that. Matt.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, they don't put it down the field. I'll go right off of that. And that's what hurt them this game. I mean, obviously, they struggled scoring. I mean, they kicked all field goals, I believe, in this game. And that proves that you couldn't put the ball down the field. Michigan played with a lot of heart, a lot of passion, and played Michigan football despite the fact of everything that's going on and Harbaugh being out. And I love that for them going here on forward towards, the college football playoff, towards that Ohio State game in 2 weeks. But they need to take care of business this week like they did last weekend in a tougher environment.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you guys. I think, not having Jim Harbaugh, that was big time. That was, this is a big statement win for them. I think that, they really, played with a lot of moxie in this game. And, they made sure that they got the W for their coach. And I'm really, really, I'm really proud of this team. I mean, this is the first ranked team that they played all season, and they really look like probably the number one team. I mean, they beat Penn State. They beat Penn State probably in, better fashion than Ohio State did, as Ohio State kind of let them in the game. Michigan kind of dominated the game in the second half. Second half adjustments. They won by 9 points. And I mean, the defense is just solid. I mean, you can't really run against this team. This defense has no flaws across the board. And, I think Michigan can beat you in a variety of ways, like Christian said, through the air, passing the football, running the football as well. This team is a really complete team when it comes down to it. When you look at all four teams, I think, it's tough to pick between Ohio State, Michigan, and Georgia. As you know, Florida State has some flaws. Washington has some flaws, right? But those three teams, they are pretty much they can do it in three. They perfect football in all three levels, right, Christian? Special teams, defense, offense.
Absolutely. And the team that's most well-rounded across the board is the team that's going to be the most successful. And this is the best team I think Jim Harbaugh's had since he's become coach. And I love the us against the world mentality that they have right now.
Yeah, absolutely. They got a big chip on their shoulder. Next takeaway we got, man. Number 2 Georgia routs number 9 Ole Miss in the top 10 matchup, 52-17. This one wasn't even close from the jump. I mean, from the jump, it was just all Georgia from first quarter to the fourth quarter. They scored in double digits each quarter. As Carson Beck went 18-25, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Kendall Milton was the leading rusher, 9 carries, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Dawan Edwards, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns. Andrew Paul snuck in there with a touchdown. They had 5 rushing touchdowns in that running back room. Got to give them a big shout out for the Georgia Bulldogs in the running back room. And then Ladd McConkey was the leading receiver, had a beautiful route in this game as well. With 81 yards, 1 touchdown. Dominic Levitt, 77 yards. Pretty well-rounded when it comes down to it. And Brock Bowers came back for this game. 3 catches, 34 yards, and he even scored a touchdown. Christian. So Georgia's back, got their Superman back a little bit, even though he's not probably 100%. Got their Superman back. And then on the Ole Miss side, Jackson Dart, 10 of 17, 112 yards. Did not have a Jackson Dart-esque game like he's had all season. Had one interception. Quinshawn Judkins did have a good game, 22 carries, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns, but it was not enough as Ole Miss was just overmatched by Georgia. Christian, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, and you mentioned Brock Bowers and Izzy. It seemed like he was a little bit of a decoy. I think Ole Miss really zoomed in on him, thinking he was going to have a strong impact, but that just opened the field for everyone else. I will say Georgia really missed Jamon Dumas Johnson. He's the best defensive player, and he's the best pass rusher on that defensive line because Jackson had way too clean of a jersey for my liking, but Georgia was just a better football team, leaps and bounds, better. Yeah, Ole Miss made it interesting in the beginning, and that's the thing that Georgia does. They make you think you have a chance. And then once they establish themselves at the line of scrimmage, they say, ha ha, that's cute. And then they just run away with it, and they keep their foot on the gas pedal. They clinched another SEC East Division title. Just dominant football. This may be the best I think they looked all year. I know I said that a few weeks ago after the Florida game, but I think right here, man, they just look good in all phases of the football game. Offensively, they gave Carson Beck a nice pocket to throw and create from. They were running the football with Lab McConkey. He's really stepped up. He continues to step up, and I think he's going to be key for them. He's going to be key for them down the stretch if they want to bring a third title to Athens. But it's this defense, Izzy, that's starting to come around because they're starting to come around in the form. Kirby is a defensive-minded guy. He's the best or one of the best coaches in the country, and he's going to get his men ready to play.
Matt.
I think we lost him. Izzy.
We lost Matt here. We lost Matt. Oh, okay. No problem. Yeah, no, I think that here he is. Matt, your thoughts on Georgia Ole Miss?
I mean, just as Christian said, this was, dominated by Georgia, just like, they do. I mean, this is the game that they, make a statement for being the number one team in the country. Mm-hmm. So even without Brock Bowers, everybody's like, they dip him back. No, this is Georgia. So, yeah, in my belief, they're the number one team in this country.
Yeah,
and they proved it.
Yeah, no, they are right up there with they are up there. Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, all three solid options to be a number one team. Number one in the college football playoff. Next game we got on the slate. Well, really not next game, but Jalen Milroe set an Alabama record with his 6 touchdown performance versus Kentucky, 49-21 as they beat Kentucky. Look just the day that Jalen Milroe had: 15-22, 234 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception through the air. And Jalen Milroe scored 3 touchdowns on the ground. He can do it all for the Alabama Crimson Tide. No need to talk about Kentucky because it was all about this young man, Jalen Milroe. They even utilized the tush push in his game. Nick Saban, there's a lot of similarities, Christian, like I said, between him and Jalen Hurts. And they utilized his, he may not have the strength that Jalen Hurts, the lower body strength that Jalen Hurts has in the weight room. But Jalen Milroe, ever since he got benched early on in the season after that Texas loss, he has stepped up to the plate and has played amazing football at the quarterback position.
Yeah, he really has. And it seems like he's been playing with a chip on his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? Anytime they need him to deliver a pass, the young man steps up and delivers. And if he has to make things happen with his feet, he makes it happen with his feet. And Alabama won the SEC West, so we already have a conference title game set in stone, Izzy. Georgia, Alabama, Saban, Smart. Yep. These teams can't get away from each other.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going to be a hell of an SEC championship game. I can't wait to watch it. But yeah, Jalen Milroe, congratulations on setting Alabama. I mean, when you're in the conversation with, when you play in the pantheon of guys like Joe Namath, guys, that have been great quarterbacks for Alabama who have won national titles for them. Tua, Jalen Hurts was just there recently. You got a lot of great quarterbacks that went through Alabama. And so this is a great accomplishment for that young man. Next one we have on the slate, Jaden Daniels really boosted his case for the Heisman Trophy with 5 touchdowns versus the University of Florida. Jaden Daniels. I think when I look at it, you don't really have to have a winning record to win that award. Lamar Jackson, they weren't like national championship contenders, but he was just the best player in college football. If Jaden Daniels had a better record for LSU, didn't lose 3 times, even though he put up gaudy numbers in 3 of those wins, I think he'd be running away with the Heisman right now. His numbers on this day, they put up 52 points. He still leads the nation in total yards, 17 to 26 passing, 372 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then on the ground, 12 carries, 234 yards, and another 2 touchdowns as LSU won 52-35. Your thoughts on Jaden Daniels possibly winning a Heisman this year, despite them being number 19?
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'll go first. Being the ASU fan all my life, again, I'm honestly happy he transferred out of that situation into this one. He had so much talent and has so much talent, and now he's showing it. And I hope, he continues his play and wins it. He's playing at the top of his game right now. So Jaden Daniels is being Jaden Daniels that I knew he could have been at ASU. But he has better coaching now and is in a better situation.
I think it's the better offense. The offense just really suits him best here at LSU and Chip Kelly and Brian Kelly's offense. Christian.
Look, he's a grown man. This guy,
100%.
This is the guy that you create on a video game because he's done it consistently. Week in and week out, and just imagine if he had a defense that he could lean on. You know what I'm saying? I think this is one of the best teams, if not the best team, in college football.
Yeah, if he had the old LSU defense of like 5-10 years ago, it'd be a whole nother story. LSU would be at the top.
Absolutely, man. And then the next takeaway, we had a couple close calls. Florida State beating their rival Miami 27-20, and then another close call with Washington beating number 18 Utah 35-28. Out of both of those two teams, let me ask you guys, out of both of those two teams, who's more likely to get a loss on the season? I'll start with Christian.
What was the question again?
Out of both of those two teams, Florida State and Washington, who's likely who looks worse to you, and who is likely to lose between both of those two teams?
Oh, it's easily Washington. I did not like the way they looked last week against Utah. Just the lack of basic football fundamentals. Izzy, you play, I played, and what's the one thing that coach has always told you when you have the ball and you're about to cross the pylon before you let go of the ball.
Oh my God!
Hold on to that ball.
Yes. Hold on to the ball, young man. And look, Washington's offense is good. And I remember I told you a couple weeks ago when we talked about the Oregon game for Washington that their defense is improved, but it's not where it needs to be. And that's what I think is hurting them. So I'm going to say the Huskies. Don't get me wrong. I like what Kalen DeBoer has done, but yeah, Washington, they just have too many issues for my liking.
Matt.
Yeah, I'd say about 90% Washington. I agree with Christian. They're going into Corvallis this week, which was one of my dark horses at the preseason. Oregon State is not. They're still not an easy win at all for any team. So I mean, their schedule is still pretty tough. They got what? Oregon State on the road, Washington State. I mean, they got to play their best football going here on out. So that's going to be, a lot on their defense needs to step up. We know what Penix Jr. can do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can go out there and, scramble out a win for them and pull it, out of his, whatever. But their defense needs to step it up right now if they want to be a contender for that, last and final spot in the college football playoff.
Absolutely. Honestly, I'm actually. I think both. I'm gonna be real with you. Florida State really scares me because in this game right here, they were playing against a freshman quarterback. They still couldn't really put him down. And in that second quarter, Donald Channing and Mark Fletcher were really running all over the Canes, all over the Florida State Seminoles in this game. So it really scares me that sometimes this defense can take a quarter off, and then also like in the last, like you're literally dominating the whole third quarter on, and you let a 85-yard pass from Emory Williams to Jacoby George go to the house and really put the Miami Hurricanes in a position to possibly win. They get the ball back with Tyler Van Dyke at quarterback, and they're fortunate that Tyler Van Dyke threw that interception at midfield on 4th and 10. Otherwise, we'd probably be talking about this game maybe at the overtime, and the way Miami was getting some momentum there at the end, Florida State might have took an L. So I know you guys took Washington. I'll go ahead with Florida State. I just think that they need to really lock in, hone in. And, I think if they lose, it might be in the ACC championship game. I'm not sure yet. But Florida State really needs to – I know Coach Norvell wasn't happy with winning against Miami. I know it's always a tough game to face them. I mean, they blew them out the last year. 2 years previous, there was a close game. Jordan Travers was still coming into his own, even though he led the game-winning drive. But, Florida State really needs to lock in and hone in if they want to be national, championship winners.
They still got to go into the swamp. So
yeah, they still got to go into the swamp, which is a tough place to play.
Trap game.
Yeah, that's me. Next thing we got on select the Week 12 college football playoff top 25 is the top 4 remain the same. Georgia actually moves into number 1. Ohio State moves down a slot as Ohio State had a gimme last week in the Big Ten against their foes. Maserati Mar, Ohio State records, as being the leading receiver in Ohio State history, if I'm not mistaken. And so top 4 is Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State, Washington, Oregon stay the same at 5, 6. Texas still at number 7, and Alabama still at 8. And then Missouri moves up 5 slots as they beat Tennessee. That was a big win. Probably could have been one of my takeaways there. They move up 5 slots to number 9. And then round out the top 10 is Louisville playing great football. They move up a slot. And then Oregon State moving up a slot into number 11. We got 12, Penn State moving down. Ole Miss moving down a few slots to number 13. And then Oklahoma moving up a couple slots here. And then number 15, we got LSU. They moved up 4 slots to a great victory against Florida. Iowa moving up 6 slots into 16. Arizona, the Wildcats, moving up to number 17 within the top 4 slots. I really love that Arizona team. At number 18, we got Tennessee moving into 18. At number 19, we got Notre Dame. And then round out the top 20, we got North Carolina. And then round out the top 25, we got K-State at 21, Utah at 22, Oklahoma State, who just got the doors blown right off of them after their big win in Bedlam. They got the doors blown right off of them by UCF. Really wasn't close.
Yeah.
At number 24, we got Tulane. And round out the top 25, we got Kansas here. And now next, here we go to our favorite part of the show, our Week 12 games to watch as we give our intake on this week's upcoming games. Here in the first game we have on the slot is number 20 Utah going into number 17 Arizona, as both teams, Arizona coming off a W or hard-fought W against Colorado, led by Fafita and McMillan there. So that is one of the deadliest combos in college football, may I see. If you haven't seen Fafita, the quarterback from Arizona, and McMillan at wide receiver, that is such a treat to watch those guys in sync. And then Utah coming off a close loss to Washington, 35-28. How do you guys see this one playing out?
Um,
Christian.
this one can go. This one can go either way because Arizona, they're a gritty team. Utah, Utah would be a lot better if Cam Rising were playing. I think we all know that. Cam is such a difference maker for this team. Who knows where they'd be right now? We can play the what if game. We can paint those hypotheticals all we want. I'm gonna take Utah by a field goal in this one.
Utah by a field goal. What about you, Christian? I mean,
yes.
TJ, not TJ. No. Matt. My bad. I've been doing all the shows for the last couple of weeks.
No, you're good, bro. I missed last week, so Christian.
Yep.
Thank you. Yes, I cannot go with U of A. That is against my life. I'm going Utah. It's going to be a close one. U of A, I will, say in respect, they've been playing really good football. But I'm going with Utah in a close one under a touchdown.
Yeah, I can respect that. I'm going to go with Arizona to win. They have, I told Christian this last week. This Arizona team could possibly be undefeated. They have lost every single game that they've lost. Has been a one-score game, has been an overtime game, has been a close game. And this team is well coached. They play great defense. They have a real potent offense. And so I love Arizona to win this game. And I love what Arizona has done this past season. Next game we have on the state, we got number 1 Georgia going in to Knoxville, Tennessee, to face the Tennessee Volunteers, number 18 Tennessee Volunteers, as they face the top-ranked Georgia Bulldogs. How do you guys see this one playing out? I'll start with Christian.
I like Georgia in this one. Tennessee will play them tough, or maybe first couple minutes of the game. But again, Georgia's just starting to round in the form. And these final 2 games are just tune-ups before the SEC championship.
Absolutely. Christian. Matt James. I'm sorry. Yeah, I need to get a girl. I need to get a grip on this, Matt.
That's 2 strikes. I want to say Rocky Top, but no. Georgia is, as Christian said, going into gear for the championship right now. And this is a good environment for them to show and prove who they are. I think Tennessee can give them fits at times, but Georgia's going to come away with this.
Yeah, I'm going with Georgia, man. Tennessee can run the football really good, and Christian has alluded to this before. I think that's the best way is to run the football and control the clock. Against a Georgia team. I don't see it. I think that a lot of teams in the ACC, most teams in the ACC will be overmatched, not named Alabama. I just think that's a game that I think Georgia wins pretty easily. Next game we got on the slate, we got the Sunflower Showdown between rivals Kent State and Kansas. Number 21 Kansas State versus number 25 Kansas. as K-State looks to still keep their hopes alive in the Big 12 title game. How do you see this one playing out? I'll start with you, Christian.
I previewed this one the other day.
Yep.
Kansas State, they're a pretty well-rounded team that goes under the radar. I mean, they can run the ball. Will Howard can take a shot down the field. They use two quarterbacks, and their coach, Chris Killman, I think he's a pretty good coach. And defensively, they're pretty stout. Kansas, it's going to be a long day at the office for them because they're starting a freshman quarterback. I want to get his name before I say anything else. Because
Kansas starting Cole Ballard.
Cole Ballard. They're starting Cole Ballard. I think the key for Kansas, they got to bottle up DJ Giddens. I think that's going to be the key for them, but I don't see that happening. The last time Kansas beat Kansas State was in 2008. Kansas State's really dominated this series, and I think that continues. I like the Wildcats in the Sunflower Showdown.
Absolutely. Matt.
Oh, nice. I like the pick. I'm gonna go off the limb here. I'm gonna pick Kansas. The whole time I was looking at this, I wanted Kansas State, but I don't know. There's something that's gonna go on tomorrow that's bizarre, and I think the Jayhawks are gonna do it and win this game.
Yeah, man. I mean, you like TJ said, like Christian said. Sorry about that, Christian. DJ Giddens,
man.
I'm sorry, man. Hey, DJ Giddens, 859 yards on the season, 7 touchdowns. I mean, him, Ollie Gordon, a few other really good Big 12 running backs. But he's explosive as they come. A sophomore running back. I think, that is the key. If Kansas wants to, control this game, they're gonna have to stop the running game. And they're going to have to stop the big plays that Will Howard has an excellent arm. They're going to have to stop the plays over the top. If Cole Ballard's starting, he's a walk-on freshman. If he's starting, it could be a hard, long day for the University of Kansas. But I got Kansas State winning this matchup as well. And then on to our game of the week. We got number 5, Washington, heading into Corvallis to face number 11, Oregon State. We got Michael Penix versus DJ Uiagalelei. This should be an excellent matchup. Two pretty good offenses. Washington, a little bit of a better offense than Oregon State, but Oregon State's defense is what's key in this game. I'll start with you, Christian. How do you see this one playing out?
Izzy, you know what's coming.
What's coming, baby? I already
you know what's coming on my count, baby. 2, 3, shameless.
His plug number 1, baby. Probably the only one right now in this week.
Right. Nah, man. I just want to see can Washington put together a complete football game because they can score, but then their defense gives it up right away. And with Washington, their offense is almost their defense in a way because they have to sustain long drives. I mean, you know what you're going to get from Michael Penix and company. I'm really looking forward to seeing Rome Odunze play. Man, I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the country. Oregon State, this is a gritty football team, and, this will be my first time really getting the chance to see DJ Uiagalelei play. And I think, it's almost like Bo Nix. He needed that change of scenery. I'm previewing this one tomorrow. It'll be up about an hour and 30 minutes before the game. See me then, baby.
And you guys want to catch that article that Christian has on this game, you can catch dailyblitz.blog. 1 hour and 30 minutes before the game. He previews that game here. That should be 6:30 or 7:30 p.m. 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Yep. So you guys should catch that article by Christian. Matt, how do you see this one playing out?
As we stated earlier, Washington needs to bring their defense from here on out. But going to Corvallis is not easy. You going against DJU, your boy, right there. Give me Oregon State to beat Washington, take them out of the playoff.
Um, Yeah, I'm actually going to agree with you. I think Oregon State does pull this game off. And Washington, if they win, they secure a spot in the Pac-12 championship game. But yeah, DJ Uiagalelei, 20 touchdowns through the air, 4 interceptions, and he's also been getting it done on the ground this year. As he has, as he has, he has over double digits, I think, on the ground as well. No, he has 1 touchdown on the ground, but he has way more than 1 touchdown on the ground. Sorry about that. He's had 6 touchdowns on the ground, 26 touchdowns total for DJ Uiagalelei, and he just needed to change the scenery for him from Clemson to Oregon State. And he's really took control. He's the perfect quarterback for that offense. His quarterback rating is he's number 11 quarterback rating in the nation. He's very efficient with the ball. His decision making has been good, and he's got a running back in Damian Martinez, and Deshaun Fenwick as well. That can really, I mean, that running game is really damn good. You got Silas Bolden as well. Christian, you know these guys that I'm pulling up, these names. These are all important guys at Oregon State that are game changers. So and Damian Martinez is the guy that can do inside out. Deshaun Fenwick is a guy that can really he's the hammer to Damian Martinez. And Silas Bolden is a slicer. I mean, he's a guy that he's small, but he packs a punch. I mean, he can do it everywhere. I mean, he reminds me a little bit of Tavon Austin from years past. So I liked Oregon State to win this game. Washington has to play a really, really good game, disciplined football game if they want to go into Corvallis and beat this team. So that is my thing. And then I got my upset of the week. I got Iowa State beating number 7 Texas. I don't like what I've seen. I haven't liked what I've seen out of Texas the last couple weeks. They won 2 weeks in a row, very slim margin. Won the Kansas State, another against TCU. Both games where they probably should have won by double-digit touchdowns, but they didn't. They let teams hang around. You can't go into Iowa State playing like that. I expect Iowa State to pull out the upset of the week. And then I'm gonna give. I'm gonna throw one out that's gonna make Matt James happy. Arizona State, I think, has a chance to beat Oregon. Arizona State, let me tell you this, Christian. The game's at Arizona State.
Got the pitchforks, baby.
The game's at Arizona State. They beat UCLA 17-7 last week, so they got momentum going up against Oregon. After they lost 55-3 to Utah, they showed up against UCLA.
If their defense shows up.
They beat Washington State. They only lost by 1 score to Washington. They lost by 3 points to Colorado. They only lost by 2 touchdowns to USC, but they were pretty much in that game, the whole game. This is a team that rises to the occasion. I know I might be crazy. I know I may be sounding crazy, but I'm going to be putting Arizona State on my radar as an upset to watch out for against number 7 and knocking them out of the college football playoff. And they go crazy down there in Arizona.
In Tempe? Oh, yeah.
Tempe. Yes. Man,
they would. Hey, I love it. I love it, but it's a salute to service weekend. They have the Pat Tillman, logo PT42 on their helmets. So, Pat Tillman, could be blessing them this weekend. You never know.
Absolutely. Christian, you got any upsets this week?
Nah, man, I really don't. I'm just looking forward to seeing, a good week of football before rivalry week.
Sure.
Yeah, that is definitely on the slate. Rivalry week is something that we will be covering.
I got one.
We got some really good games on the slate. Got a real big one on the slate here.
Yeah, I got one though.
What? You got one? Yeah,
give me Miami at home against Louisville.
Ooh, I like that. See, it depends. See, Emory Williams, the freshman quarter, I don't think he's going to be starting that injury.
But They're at home. Defense. You never know.
Van Dyke's a veteran quarterback. If they can get the running game going, I like it.
Yeah.
That defense hits hard, man. They play hard for Mario Cristobal. I mean, they started off.
Oh yeah.
Excellent. But we'll see, man. Tyler Van Dyke, he just needs to tone down his turnovers, and they'll be
Yeah. Yeah, it's our kind of defense, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we go move on to the Week 12 Heisman rankings. At number 1, yeah, I got that man. I said these rankings are totally different. I got that man leading the show. Hey, you know what I'm about to say.
Maserati
Marv leading the show. Marvin Harrison Jr. played excellent, coming off his game against Michigan State, where he had 7 catches, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He is basically, I honestly think he is the number 1 game changer in college football. 59 receptions, over 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. He's easily gonna have 1,300 to 1,400 receiving yards this season. 6'4", 205. If he's not he's probably gonna be the number 1 overall pick, depending on how everything goes in next year's draft. I like Marvin Harrison Jr. I think the last wide receiver to win it was Devonta Smith from Alabama. So I think Ohio State. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. has a really big shot to win the Heisman this year. And then number 2, I got Michael Penix Jr. 2 close wins back to back. Really hasn't looked. I mean, he's still pretty good, but he has a lot to prove, in my opinion, to get that top slot back. And then number 3, I got Jaden Daniels. I mean, he's leading the nation in total offense. I mean, like I said, if LSU was probably in the top 10, Jaden Daniels should probably win the Heisman. He should probably be running away with the Heisman if they had more wins. And honestly, this is a historic season for LSU quarterback. He is playing outright, probably he's playing the best football out of everybody, to be honest with you, this season.
Up there with Joe Burrow, yeah.
This season he's playing the best football in my opinion.
At
number 4, I got Bo Nix, who's had a sensational season as well. At number 5, Jordan Travis slides down to number 5. My dark horses, we got J.J. McCarthy from Michigan, Carson Beck from Georgia, and then sliding in there is Jalen Milroe from Alabama, who's played himself into a Heisman consideration. He's played himself into being a Heisman consideration there, which is big time for that young man after getting benched early in the year. He has played fantastic for Nick Saban. I think that is something that Nick Saban can build on for the future. As Jalen Milroe is still young, has another couple years probably left in him for Nick Saban. I think that young man wins a national championship for Nick Saban.
I can see it.
Yep.
And it's all said and done, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, that has been a wrap for College Football Showdown. Like I said, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast here at Prime Sports World on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And in case you miss us, you can catch us on all streaming platforms where podcasts can be heard. Go ahead and check out the articles from the Daily Blitz blog that Christian pops out. You don't want to miss out.
Yes, sir.
Content here as he previews Oregon State and Washington this week, and you don't want to miss the NFL content that he drops on his website as well. That's my main man, Christian Simpson from the Daily Blitz blog, and there goes Matt James here from Prime Sports World, bringing the heat to you. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, please drink responsibly this weekend. And in case you missed you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Izzy, what do I say now? Holla at your boy.
That's right. You guys,
brother.
As David comes back as well with the NBA crossover with the NFL content, fantasy football. I miss my man David. I miss David, man.
David.
In California, he might have a little tan. Guys.
Oh boy.
A little tan. He's a little snazzy out there. But anyways, we'll see you guys next week. You guys have a great weekend and peace out. Sayonara, sucker.
All right, guys.
Yep.